I'd like to call the meeting back to order, and I want to turn the gavel over to Vice President Estelano, who will chair the remainder of the meeting. I have to depart for another conflict that I have to resolve, and I want to then hand the gavel officially over to Vice President Estelano, and I look forward to staying in touch and seeing everybody soon.
Cleveland.
Thanks.
Okay, we're back in session. Our next item is item 3.1. It's a first reading of the academic record symbols and grade point average satisfactory progress grade. Vice Chancellor Walker. Well, is that okay? I thought you were. Vice Chancellor Walker, please proceed. Oh, one moment. Item 3.1 is a first reading and public hearing for proposed regulations related to academic record symbols and grade point average satisfactory progress grade. The Chancellor and staff will now provide information on the item.
Vice President Estelano, Interim Chancellor Skinner, and Board, with my colleague Kirsten Corbin, a Dean in Academic Affairs, actually Basic Skills and Special Programs. We'll talk about academic record symbols and grade point average with the satisfactory progress SP grade. This item is a first reading, and it is to add a new evaluative grade of satisfactory progress in order to track the progress of students enrolled in non-credit courses and provide students with additional feedback on their progress. Dean Corbin will continue to give you this. She has tracked this quite significantly.
Thank you. So one of the main reasons that we want to do this, aside from the fact that after a study of colleges that offer non-credit and the practitioners of those non-credit courses and programs were very supportive of doing this, as Vice Chancellor Walker, also mentioned, it is an opportunity to actually really provide motivation for those students in non-credit courses. By their nature, non-credit courses students can take more than one term to complete them. But if they do take more than one term, then currently the only option that's left for colleges is to say that the student earned an NP or no pass in that course, which doesn't necessarily always reflect the work that the student did during the course during that term. And SP provides the opportunity for the student to be able to see on record that they are actually making progress in that course, which is a tremendous motivator in order for them to come back and to complete it in order to get that P or that passing grade on there.
So this is not mandatory for the colleges to do. We are going to encourage the colleges to do this in our non-credit programs. We're seeing a number of new non-credit programs pop up as well, but we did do a 2-year pilot, and the analysis of the pros and cons of officially reporting this non-credit coursework were supportive, and so we believe this will help us, one, with the research we need in MIS. So we're working with our MIS department, our TRIS department, and we're making sure that we get this information out in advisory so that the colleges could potentially apply this to the non-credit programs that we have already.
Okay, does that conclude your presentation?
Yes.
Great. So, the public hearing on item 3.1, the proposed amendments to California Code of Regulations Title V, Section 55023, Academic Record Symbols and Grade Point Average, is now open. The purpose of the hearing is for the Board of Governors to receive comments and testimony from members of the public regarding the proposed regulations. At this time, the floor is open for comments from the public. I do not have any speaker slips. Karen, do we have any other folks who've submitted anything? Okay, different one. All right. Are there any additional members, any members at all, anyone really, who would like to speak on this matter? Hearing none, this public hearing is closed. This concludes the public hearing on this matter. Colleagues, we can have discussion. This is not an action item. It's just the first reading of this matter. If you have any questions for our staff, this would be an appropriate time, or comments. Board Member Haynes, please.
I'm curious, do you have a sense of did a request come from colleges that they wanted this, or was this something that was initiated out of the chancellor's office? Do we have a sense of how well this will be accepted among campuses?
Yes, this came from the field, and it's actually something that they've been wanting for quite a while now. So this has been talked about at SAC, at the System Advisory Committee on Curriculum, for a period of time, and that's why we did this 2-year study as well, where some of the colleges piloted using it to make sure that it would work. We already that's where they already worked with MIS to be able to actually include this grade. So the structure is there, and this is absolutely coming from the field. This is not something that we initiated.
Board Member Belansky.
Follow up on what she said, because it's also in the background that the System Advisory Curriculum Committee, which is faculty and administrators, are in favor of this and have asked that it come forward, as well as a list that the Academic Center for the California Community Colleges had 2 resolutions in support of this kind of movement. As well as the fact that there is a non-credit accountability task force and an Association of Community College Continuing Education. So, I mean, it's widely requested, rather than just saying that a person didn't show up or the person wasn't in attendance. You can now say, did they make satisfactory progress towards the goals of the course?
Board Member Sumner, please.
I was gonna say, I know that was one of the challenges with some of the veterans was now at the MW. That's good because they would deploy, they'd come back, they'd go, they'd shift, and they were really struggling. So I'm excited to see that because I know that was brought up at the last summit.
Any further comments or questions from members of the board? All right, let's move on to item 3.2. Oh, look, it's Vice Chancellor Walker again. This is going to be item 3.2 is a first reading and public hearing for proposed regulations related to the Cooperating Agencies Foster Youth Educational Support Program. The Chancellor and staff will now provide information on the item. Most importantly, do we call it CAFES, CAFIS, CAFIS? Yeah. I think we're going to carry that over to another meeting when Board Member Perry is present.
CAFES.
CAFIS. Okay.
This item is a first reading with regulations that would govern cooperating agencies' foster youth educational support, a new categorical component program of extended opportunity programs and services out of VOPS, and the regulations would be incorporated into Title V separate and apart from the existing EOPS regulations. And I have with me Dean Sarah Tyson, who's been working with the CAFES and Foster Youth Project significantly and will continue this update.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Walker, Chancellor Skinner, and Vice President Estolano. I did want to just give you just a very brief update. The Cooperating Agencies Foster Youth Educational Support Program was signed into statute in 2014. However, there were no funds for it appropriated that first year. So we did receive funding in 2015-16 for this new categorical program and began to immediately implement the provisions of the statute. At your January board meeting, you approved the selection of the 10 districts that are allowed to participate in the program. And once we had that in place, then we began to simultaneously develop both an advisory committee and this regulations package that you see before you. The way that we developed the regulations were, as Vice Chancellor Walker said, they were drafted as separate from the Extended Opportunities Programs and Services regulations, but they should be read in conjunction with those regulations. And the focus of these regulations is really on the components that are different from the EOPS regulations. And we have, as required by statute, consulted with the State Department of Social Services on the proposed regulations, as well as informally consulted with the EOPS Association and with the John Burton Foundation, who is a major sponsor of the statute. And we have incorporated responses to their concerns in the package you see before you. In addition, this package has also gone to the June Consultation Council, and we provided responses to a couple of technical questions at Consultation Council. And with that, I'll conclude.
We also have been involved with the Foundation for the California Community Colleges, and our staff in the foundation have helped significantly with this. Some of the work that's been done, we did some informal research. You know, foster youth don't typically indicate who they are, and so we know we might have 16,000 who have indicated that they have been foster youth or former foster youth, but there could be significant more numbers in regard to that. So we started with an informal research with foster youth, and we did surveys. We have done messaging. The foster youth students have been involved with us in our outreach efforts. They're helping us design a logo, and so they're very involved in this project. So I think that's an important sign as well.
And I just note the CAFES is an exciting step forward in terms of our system better serving foster youth, but there's been a long history of different programs and initiatives across the system to serve this population that oftentimes has additional disadvantages. Population that oftentimes doesn't enjoy many of the things that the rest of us take for granted in terms of family supports. And you'll receive a fuller update on that at the September meeting. We had intended to have it at today's meeting as kind of to lead into the regulations, but due to a tight timing schedule and also the interest of Member Perry in hearing the update, you'll hear about that in September. So you can look forward to hearing more about not only this, but other initiatives across the system to assist foster youth.
Okay, that concludes your presentation. The public hearing on item 3.2, the proposed edition of California Code of Regulations, Title V, Sections 56400 to 56416, Cooperating Agencies Foster Youth Educational Support, is now open. The purpose of the hearing is for the Board of Governors to receive comments and testimony from members of the public regarding the proposed regulations. At this time, the floor is open for comments from the public. I have one comment card, and that's from Mr. John Stanskas. I got it right this time, from the Academic Senate.
Thank you, Vice President and Interim Chancellor. I'm John Stanskas again, and I'm telling you that because it tells me this on the little sign here. So my name is John Stanskas. I'm with the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges. I'm the Vice President. Julie Bruno is sorry she couldn't be here today. And the Academic Senate would like to provide comment on 3 items on your agenda regarding services for foster youth and veterans. The Academic Senate is honored to be part of the ongoing work to enhance and expand services to our students who are foster youth and veterans. Faculty witness firsthand the determination these students exhibit in their efforts to succeed and thrive in college and in life, and everything we can do to make it just a little bit easier is warranted and welcome. We support the work of the Chancellor's Office in these critical efforts to improve the educational experience for our students, and we thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of the public who would like to speak on this matter? Going, gone. Hearing none, this public hearing is closed. This concludes the public hearing on this matter. Do members of the Board of Governors wish to make any comments or ask any questions of staff regarding this first reading? Board Member Belansky, please.
Just to make comment that clearly this is something we need to do, continuing to reach out to groups of students that in many instances can get lost. And I think one of the things that's very helpful in this is just what it says on page 107, that additional counseling and in-person contacts will be provided to students over and above any other kind of categorical program services at the college. I think this is great. One question is how will the money, because it says like there's $15 million, and maybe I missed this, but how would that money is it going to be by student count, much like other programs are, or how will that get dispersed to the colleges?
So in year one, when we did the process, the application to participate that went out system-wide, within the application to participate, we asked them to estimate a budget for year one, which is really basically going to be a half-year budget, and then an additional budget for year two and year three. And so it is kind of it will eventually be an allocation formula, and it will be a per student basis. But right now, as we're growing it, it's a lot more flexible.
And it also says that there has to be a college plan. Will it be a separate plan or linked with some other program, or?
The plan is certainly linked with the EOPS program. So it's the program was developed as an over and above to the EOPS. So we expect to see those linkages to the EOPS plan.
Right.
Any other comments, colleagues, questions? Okay, well, let's conclude this matter, and then we will move on to information and reports. As Interim Chancellor Skinner noted, we're going to take item 4.1 and continue that on to September. So once again, the hardest working woman in this room, Vice Chancellor Walker, item 4.2, the Program and Course Handbook, 6th edition. I happen to have a copy right here. Interim Chancellor Skinner?
Thank you.
Wow, okay.
Vice President Estolano and members of the board, the following information item will provide an update on the latest edition of the Program and Course Approval Handbook. This is the key resource that colleges and the Chancellor's Office use to guide the development and approval of academic programs. Here to present the item is Vice Chancellor Pam Walker.
Vice President Estolano, Interim Chancellor Skinner, and board members, with my colleague Dean Jackie Escajeda, we will present the work of the Program and Course Handbook. This is a labor of intensity and sometimes love for the participatory governance groups that care deeply about curriculum and the processes that we go through to do all the things that curriculum does for our colleges. The curriculum handbook, this PCAW, and if you are have been in the system a long time, the words PCAW mean a bird's laugh. And so, but we take this very seriously, and we work very hard to try to continue to make the PCAW work for the colleges today. So the purpose of this year is to we cleaned up a significant amount of maybe redundancy, and because there's so many different places that it comes from, and we broke it into 3 sections: the introduction to the program and course approval, the credit course review criteria and standards, credit program approval criteria and standards, and then into the non-credit work, which is becoming quite significant today in our colleges. And so some of those same sections come into non-credit. And I think that the important piece in this is that this was a uniquely large group of individuals vetted by vice presidents of instruction, the academic senate, all of the various participatory groups that come into play, and then vetted by Joseph Belansky Jr., who edits this every time and then re-edits for us one more time. So I think Jackie Dean Escajeda could give us a little more perspective at this point.
So what we did something a little different with this PCAW, and that is this first, what you guys have is the legal stuff and explanations. I mean, Title V, there's a lot of gray areas, so this helps provide more explanation. There's going to be a second part that's going to be the guidelines that gives like the how on for curriculum specialists, curriculum chairs, and faculty. And then there's going to be a third part for technology, because as you're aware, we are developing a new system, and so we have to wait till that's developed to provide directions for that new technology. So the idea is whenever something legal is changed, this is what we will bring forward to the board. The other parts, the guidelines and the technology, I will bring it to you guys, but it's just this is the meat of it or the heart of it. And so that was a different approach because technology keeps changing, so we don't always want to bring this back to you guys, and the guidelines sometimes need to be tweaked.
So let me just do a couple things on technology. So for many, many years, there was one person in academic affairs who read every course approval, one person. And then about 7 years ago, we moved to technology infrastructure where the colleges could input their work on campus and it would come to us via a software device. And that developed more curriculum than you could ever imagine. And so it just exploded on our faces. And then, because it was so good, it broke. Because that's what happens, right? I mean, you get so much going and then it doesn't quite work. And so ask any of the people who integrate PeopleSoft on their campuses or others. So we started working with Butte Technology Center this last year, and we're digging in deep to try to figure out how we can get from the campuses with any software platform they use, any curriculum inventory platform, how it integrates with one system here at the Chancellor's office, the curriculum inventory. And we have several 100,000 pieces of a curriculum. And we also have articulation agreements with CSU and someday with UC maybe, and with our high school partners. So all those pieces, and now this incredible workforce agenda will even add more curriculum to our system. Since you just approved standalone, we'll see more curriculum into the system. So by continuing to integrate these programs in the PCAW, we won't just be coming back every time the board meets, but it'll take us a while to bring all that together. And we hope to have our first group of colleges using the new system by December. So we're working very hard to try to make some of this happen, but we still have to make sure that the Title V regulations are in play. And that's what you're seeing here today. Plus, look at all the new people we're hiring. They don't know what the former PCAW even meant. They don't know you're supposed to cheer like a bird when they say PCAW because they just haven't gone through it before. So we're trying to teach as well as develop, and that takes a significant amount of work. So we think the work of our good group to bring you this is important. But you'll get updates, and you should get updates on the technology in the first of the year.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members of the board? PCAW, PSHA, move on. Oh no, Board Member Avalos. Really? All right. Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor Walker. Let's move on to item 4.3, the Veteran Services Update. Interim Chancellor Skinner.
Vice President Estolano and board members, the following information item will present an overview of support programs and services available to veterans in the California Community College system. Here to present the item is Vice Chancellor Pam Walker.
So this one is near and dear to my heart, having developed a pretty wonderful veterans program at a former campus. And so I'm really excited about the work that we've been doing with our veterans programs. And I'm going to step away after I introduce it and bring the real leaders to you and talk about it. So with me today is our dean, Sarah Tyson, who oversees veterans, and David Lawrence, who has been our specialist involved with veterans for a number of years. And we're also going to bring Shantae Genny from Academic Affairs, who has been instrumental in writing the prior learning for veterans. And she says if we make her nervous, we'll be doing something else, and she's very pregnant standing behind me. And Terrence Nelson from Saddleback College, who tomorrow will also be receiving a Rice Award for their veterans program, and it's a significant program as well. So this item presents information about activities the Chancellor's Office and our colleges have engaged in support of our student veterans. It will include, of course, Terrence from Saddleback, and share highlights of our veterans education and transition services programs. I think the most important part of this is We have currently approximately 70,000 veterans and active duty service members enrolled in our community colleges, and I can't tell you how many additional individuals who are part of the veterans family who are enrolled in our campuses as well in that support. So Sarah will start, and then David, and I'll step back and we'll keep bringing people up. This is a very important one, and Board Member Sumner, we hope that you'll appreciate this one.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chancellor Skinner and Vice President Estolano, Vice Chancellor Walker. I am just going to highlight just a few items from the agenda item that I wanted to reaffirm. We've been excited to see the number of Vets Resource Centers continue to grow in spite of the lack of dedicated funding for that. It's been a wonderful opportunity to see colleges put together resources from a whole variety of locations to help them support their Veterans Resource Centers. And I know that when I visited a couple of colleges, they have found space and they have found philanthropic support to actually help them refurbish and provide really nice tools for their veterans. So that's been a wonderful thing to see. I think also of note this year was the fabulous advocacy that the veterans did when they came to the Capitol, and that there was, at least at one point, an appropriation in the Assembly budget that would have provided support for veterans. It didn't make it through the final budget, but I think that that's that first step that often allows it to provide those dedicated resources. So that was a really good sign. I did want to point out that we have worked with, our office has worked with Terrence Nelson to help do some webinars on how to access student equity funding to support veterans locally. And I hope that I'm planning to continue to do those types of activities about how to access various resources to support local programs. And then our vet was the 350 record attendance, David? It was. The 350 attendees at the Veteran Summits was record attendance, so that's very well represented, and so we were really happy to see that. Additionally, a couple of other things we're planning to do going forward. We have partnered with the foundation and the Foundation for the California Community Colleges, and they have created the Welcome Home trainings. And so we plan to continue to do some additional trainings over the next couple of years. We're looking to identify resources for that, and then we'll plan those and conduct those trainings. Our colleges continue to do other innovative things, and just as a couple of items that I just thought were very interesting and really great ideas: use of therapy dogs to assist the veterans. And then also equipping some of the VRCs with meditation rooms, bringing vocational rehabilitation counselors on campus, and also hosting attorneys from firms that provide pro bono services to veterans. So all of those things are really nice to see, those innovations. And hopefully what we'll be able to do is compile some of this information to give other colleges ideas about things that they can do. With that, I'm going to turn it over to David to see if he has any additional comments.
Yes, we have a Veteran Services Regional Advisory Committee group here in our office made up of leaders from across the system who come from schools that have really well-developed veterans programs. And you're going to hear from one here shortly, and Terrence Nelson, who runs a fantastic program at Saddleback College. And they bring issues up from the field to our office and are able to share best practices amongst themselves and disseminate that information out to the system. And just to add a little bit about the Veterans Summit, the first Veterans Summit was 5 years ago and was a day-long event with about 180 attendees. And it's now a 2-day event. In its 5th year, we've invited our colleagues in CSU and UC to also attend and participate. And we're up to 350 attendees, so watching that grow has really has been a joy. And I think that probably has played some role in the expansion of VRCs across our system. Learning about what other colleges are doing, it's really been great from that standpoint. So I'll turn it over to you to talk about credit for prior learning.
Absolutely. Thank you. The credit for prior learning, recently the Chancellor's Office, we've collaborated with various constituent groups system-wide to include the Council for Adult experiential learning, the CALE group, also the Academic Senate, and the System-Wide Advisory Committee on Curriculum, or SAC. And I think through that work, we've learned a great deal about credit for prior learning. Currently, we looked specifically at the tenets of Assembly Bill 2462, where we looked at awarding credit for veterans with prior military experience. So that work in itself, it was great, but we also wanted to make sure that we took a look at our entire student population. My heart goes out to student veterans. I'm a veteran myself, but also we want to make sure that we're doing this good work for the greatest good of all of our students. So on that note, we actually worked with our advisory committees, and we drafted several reports, which were released about a week ago, system-wide to chief instructional officers and also chief student services officers. So we look forward with just continuing to get feedback from the colleges, and also, sort of getting best practices in terms of recommendations for awarding credit for prior military experience and credit for prior learning. So, thank you.
All right, when serving 50 to 70,000 student veterans a year, it takes a lot of folks engaged up and down the state. So to start, I'd like to let the Board of Governors know about a few folks up at the Chancellor's office that often go unsung, that for years have been supporting us in the field. David Lawrence, Mike McGee, I believe he's here, and Scott Valverde for years have been very reliable sources and professionals to help us out. So I'd like to commend them for their annual support. Also behind me, I guess the hardest working person in the room, Dr. Pam Walker, always gives us sage advice, is there to get her nails dirty at the ground level to really help us serve our students of the state. So I want to commend those folks and everyone else who has participated in this. It's something that's a passion, and a lot of folks are involved. So and the Chancellor's office is also often unsung up here. So secondly, I'd like to recognize, as Dr. Walker did, the VETS program team. I believe they're in the back. Saddleback College folks, if you could stand up real quickly. I've been the bureaucrat in front of the team for a while. Now I'm down at the faculty level, very happy. But this team offers one of the most robust programs in the state of California, probably one of the most replicated as we've passed out our program plan and invited in universities and colleges throughout the nation. They've actually flown in and learned from what we do. They every day are working very hard for our prior military, so I wanted to commend them again and congratulate the team on the Rice Award for tomorrow. Myself, I'm a civilian. I've worked in our system for 17 years, and I'm a product of our system, and 8 years in veteran services at Saddleback College, who has one of the largest veterans populations in the state. We also serve those that are in the northern end of Camp Pendleton, which is often those infantry units, many times multiple deployments, higher propensity of service-connected disabilities, and other transitional issues. We take pride in that, but I do want to note, our student veterans, they're not a broken, feeble group. It's not this broken individual coming to our campuses. It's actually the opposite. We see them as able, strong, and a resilient group that may need a little bit of support. The colleges that are successful, and we have a couple of them here today in the audience, they focus on the strengths and the skills of our student veterans in program development, but they're also cognizant of the common transitional issues or possible service-connected disabilities and the accommodations that some vets need. But I really want to point that out. This is not a broken group of students. This is a very successful, able group of students. I was asked to present a couple of highlights in veteran services, and as you can tell, I can get a little verbose, so I'll get right to it. One of the things I want to highlight is something that we do similar. We've done it for years with our K-12s and our general students, where you're reaching out to these students before they even graduate, maybe in their junior, sophomore year. The colleges that are successful, Saddleback, Solano College, Palomar, we have relationships with the Department of Defense and the local military installations. We should be pushing our local districts and our colleges to get on base, create those relationships before discharge, process these students to the right place, not to our colleges, but to the right place for that specific student individual. That may be out of state, that may be out of district, but we need to get those relationships with the military installations strengthened. I think that's very important. Another item that's near and dear to my heart as a counselor is trained and committed faculty veterans counselors tied with case management. That's very important. The case management from EOPS, CalWORKS, that works. We have evidence that works with at-risk groups, and we should be doing that with veterans across the state. Most colleges don't have a dedicated veterans counselor that's set aside. It's a generalist that's assigned that duty. And we really need to push that from a larger scale level. We just hosted the Southern California Veterans Counselor Training at Saddleback this spring, and our hope is to push other campuses to dedicate set-aside veterans counselors and not put the veterans in with the generalists who may not be trained, may not be passionate, may not understand VA compliance. So we really want to push for that. De Anza, Fullerton College, they're great examples there. Lastly, I want to make you aware of a major gap right now in veteran services. It's significant and we need your help. It's in terms of funding and setting of a minimum low bar of expectation. In our region, Region 8, we have many institutions with varying services, and a student can go 10 minutes down the road and receive a whole different experience and actually be run away from a community college because of that experience, because we don't have a low bar of expectations. It's all on the will of the institution. We need your help in categorizing veteran services at the state level, just as we've done for EOPS, CalWORKS, and foster youth and other programs. Currently, 40% of all GI Bill money is going to the University of Phoenix, with many veterans leaving our community college campuses to go to for-profits because it's an easy process, and we lack some services at some of our campuses. I'm glad I got that reaction, because that's important that we need to serve our communities, and veterans are part of those communities. This is not acceptable, and most of the stated VRCs are merely a physical location with no staff whatsoever. It's not a veteran services program. There's a difference between a VRC and a veteran services program. So we ask your help. There is a bill going through for grants for Veterans Resource Centers, but we also ask that the Board of Governors step up and really push for funding and categorization to support this group. Thanks.
Vice Chancellor Walker, any other thoughts?
I would probably say not a low bar, but a high bar, but I appreciate that. I just wanted to reiterate the prior learning work. We had to go out 3 times on a survey because this was a bill authored by Marty Block, and I think that it was to be completed in May of 2013, and we needed, the last couple of years, we did a lot of work in trying to figure out what each of the 113 colleges were doing relative to prior learning. Former Chancellor Jack Scott called me one day and he says, "You're not doing enough for prior learning." And I said, that was when you were here. And he said, can I help you? And he said the city of Los Angeles is interested, so I said, come be on a committee. And so we'll start something a little deeply on prior learning. What we hope is for veterans that if you have done a particular job in the military and that translates into something close to 10 or 20 units in our colleges, we should be able to find a way to put that in place. We have the prior learning piece now, but we're going to have to do a little more intrusive work because we know what each college does, but there's some additional work we can do with that. And I think that's what Chancellor Emeritus Scott was interested in as well. So the prior learning piece was our first spot. We'll keep moving on that one. And I would say that probably the work we do around a bar for veterans, a standard, is going to be very important in the future.
Board Member Malumet, I think you have the list of members of the public.
Yes, I have many members who want to talk on this subject, so I'm going to invite 3 to come up if you don't mind vacating that area. Vice Chancellor Walker, I was going to have you step away, yes, both of you. The first one's Dr. Todd, I know you like it, Dr. Todd Burnett, President of Saddleback College, and also the other 2 can come up to make it go along, Todd Steffen and Jennifer Seiler. Thank you.
Can I start? Thank you. Well, first off, good afternoon. Vice President Estolano, Board of Governors. For starters, I'm happy because I think I may possibly be the first CEO in the state to congratulate our new chancellor and say it publicly, Eloy Oakley. I have known and worked with Eloy for many, many years, and I'll tell you, you made an excellent choice. So thank you very much. The primary reason I'm here today is to echo all the information that you've heard about the veteran services that are going up and down the state. I'm also here to thank the board and actually the foundation for selecting Saddleback and selecting our Veterans Education and Transition Services as one of tomorrow's recipients of the Dr. Rice Diversity and Equity Award. I'll tell you, it's the first time Saddleback has won this award. We're very honored, and it's an award I've been following for many years, and I'm very proud of our college. I'm also tremendously proud of Terrence. You heard him. Quite impressive. He's the only person I know that can talk faster than me. And but interesting note is that I've hired over 30 managers and administrators in my 8 years at Saddleback, and he was the very first one that I hired 8 years ago. And one of the things we said is we want to really create a veteran services program, and as you can see, he ran with it and did a great job with the rest of our team and many others back there at the college. So thank you, Terrence and team. While I'm proud of actually Saddleback's accomplishments, I'm equally proud of our community college system for working and providing greater support services for all of our state's veterans. Over 10 years ago, actually, I sat there in one of these chairs on each side with Eric, and I'll tell you, at that time, the state, Chancellor's office, the colleges, our state system was doing very little actually for veterans. But due to the leadership and the courage of many individuals in our state, including board members, I can think of examples like Bobby McDonald and Lance Azumi, former colleagues of yours and board members, and because of all of you, our state right now has really done a great job and has flourished in providing these services. I still believe, and you've heard some of the reasons why, we have a lot more that we can do. But once again, I just want to thank the Board of Governors. I want to thank the Chancellor's Office and thank our system for actually taking veterans serious and really providing the services that, frankly, they deserve. Thank you.
Todd Steffen.
You gotta excuse my voice. I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they both decided to bring their cold to me last week. So, and I'm real proud to be here. I was asked not too long ago to speak a few minutes. I was initially hoping to speak after the students so you could really hear why I'm here. I work at Las Positas College. I'm the coordinator of the Veterans First program, and I've been doing that for a little over 10 years. So I've kind of grown up with my own position with our veterans program, and I'm really proud of our program. But I've worked with a lot of colleges that they may have a vet center, but it's just a room right now because of the mentioning. I know we don't want to keep on asking for funding, but there's a lot of dedicated people that work really hard, but there's still a huge need for funding as a regular program. As we've seen some outstanding programs, the OPS, for example, our veterans deserve a similar program. There's a lot of dialogue, as we've heard, across the state, and I was just in DC a week ago, and there was a lot of dialogue nationally about serving our vets and really increasing what we're doing in the Veterans Resource Centers particularly. And now I think it's really the time our California Community College system as a whole has been doing a great job, but now really take it to the next notch and have these services for all community colleges. I think you're going to hear from a couple students that have been at multiple schools and have seen the difference, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be equal amongst all of our colleges. Thank you.
Tyler.
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Tyler. I did 6 years active duty in the Navy, and now I'm currently in the reserves. A little bit of backstory. Todd and I had communication when I first was getting out of the Navy. I decided to make that change, and going into the military is such a transition, as is coming out of the military. You're going from civilian life to military life, back to civilian life, and being a single mom of 2 at the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go or who I wanted to be or what kind of person I wanted to show my children. But I knew going back to school was the right thing to do. I knew I needed to go somewhere, and there's so many jobs out there that are being offered, but how do you get there? Most of these jobs, you need an educational backing, an academic support system to get where you want to go. I can't be a kinesiologist major without getting some sort of degree. I can't work on people who I served with who are going to the VA hospitals if I don't have that educational background. And when I was speaking with Todd, I was actually in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the USS Benfold, contacting him via email. It was just very choppy. It's like DSL, but worse. But we had that communication, and if Todd wasn't there, I don't know where I would be today. And having come from Sacramento, this being my home, and being here, this is full circle for me. So to come back and say, yes, I'm making a difference. I'm making a change. We can put our voices forward. I served my country once. Now I can serve my community, and making sure that all the veterans are taken care of. Not every veteran center is created equal. I live 15 minutes from Modesto Junior College. It's 4 walls and a door. I chose Las Positas because of Todd, because he took the time and the care to come out and help me when I needed it, when I didn't have anybody. We have these services, but what is a Southern California college going to do for me in Sacramento? They can offer me, jobs and all that other stuff, but like I said, I can't become a kinesiologist major and work on people that I served with, being a physical therapist, being an occupational therapist. I can't do that without that educational background. So the transition to go back to school, that was a huge step for me. And I couldn't have done it without the support of this VRC itself. So many open hands welcomed me in saying, what do you need? Where do you need to go? Do you need to talk to VA? I got a number for that. Don't worry about that. And MJC, I love them. They're my people. It's where I live. But they don't offer those services. They don't offer the services I needed. And that's what Todd let me do. It was an individual one-on-one. Thank you.
Thank you all. The next group of 3 can come up. Jason Geiser, Destiny Gadu, and Richard Rahi Jr. You can all come up to the front and speak. Is this Mr. Jason Geiser?
I'm a little slow.
You're on.
Well, thank you for allowing us this time to speak. We all have different backgrounds. We all have our own story, and this is just my opportunity to tell my story of where I'm from and how I came to be right here. So I got out of high school in 1998, went to the Navy just like Jennifer, and I did that for a couple of reasons. One, to escape college, because I was a horrible student in high school. I didn't like it, and I wanted to get out of my hometown and really make a difference in my life and in others, so I chose the Navy. And then when I got out, I had a plan. I got out, became an Oakland police officer, went to their academy. I actually got a 90-day early out to attend, so it was only a 26-day wait until I was employed again. And served as a police officer for about 2 years before I was injured in a motorcycle accident. I struggled mentally and physically for a few years trying to figure out my path. As an electrician in the Navy and a SEER instructor and a police officer, I didn't have a lot of transferable skills that was going to serve me best sitting down all the time. So I finally bit the bullet and started looking at going to college. But you don't know what you don't know. And not everybody gives you the same level of education or gives you the same information that you would get from another person. So by mere chance, I learned that I had the post 9/11 GI Bill available to me, which was great because it was going to provide that income for monthly housing allowance. But I didn't know which college to go to. I really contacted my community college, which was Los Medanos College, Contra Costa County, and they told me that you should go to a four-year institute if you're going to use this, and I didn't get a real warm welcome from them. So then I looked at ITT Tech because a friend said, hey, you should do some network stuff. You can sit down and do that. So I'm not here to say that school is good or bad. I'm less than impressed from my own personal experience. So I started seeking other colleges to go to, and that's where I met Greg, he's from Las Positas at Veterans First. And he told me about some programs that they had there. And then my friend RJ, sitting next to me, told me he was actually working for the Resource Center. And that was my opportunity to get back to veterans and give the information that I didn't get to someone else, even though I am going to school somewhere else. So that's kind of my story, and I'd like to see this kind of program be across the board because you really don't know what you don't know, and not everybody is like super motivated to go find out on their own. Everything was kind of hand-fed to us in the military, and if we have to figure it out on our own out here, we're not all going to do it. Thank you.
Ms. Destiny Gadu?
Yes, Gadu. Like she said, my name is Destiny Gadu, and I am with Las Positas College. as well. And thank you for allowing us to speak today. I served in the Marine Corps for 5 years. I was an aviation electrician, and I got out in 2012. And I initially I applied for a community college, and I had trouble getting a hold of the counseling faculty, the certifying faculty in order to use my benefits. So I just sort of gave up on that, just due to frustrations and fears of not getting paid or not being able to pay my bills or whatever the case may be, because I've heard a lot of horror stories that a lot of vets have experienced from lack of educated faculty members at the community colleges. And so after that, I took a couple years off, and then I went back to another community college here. And once again, I just didn't really feel the support. It was difficult. Once again, another attempt. And so it wasn't until I finally went to Las Positas in Livermore. And like many of the other student vets that I'm here with today, I called up and they walked me through the process. It was easy, painless. They just made us very welcome, just very comforting. And so it was a very good process overall. And it's really important because not only do they have the faculty members to walk you through, to counsel you through what kind of academic programs you need, but they have other resources that are available, yoga classes to de-stress. They have financial coaches come in because a lot of military members are used to getting, their regular paychecks, and they have their housing or their barracks room, and so they struggle in that aspect, and they need that assistance when they're transitioning back to civilian life. And I've seen a lot of growth in a lot of the vets at our Veteran Resource Program. Really, it's a safe haven for them. They can hang out, they can just enjoy themselves, be comfortable, and have a good academic experience. And not only that, we also have our student veteran organization at our Veterans Resource Center. So it gets the vets really involved, community outreach. There's just various things that they can do with that. And then a lot of us use social networking. So if you don't know where to go to college, you'll ask someone in a Facebook group online. If you have a group of Marines who got out or are from California or another state maybe, and you'll ask them. So I think with the Veterans Resource Centers that it would be a good look for California and to encourage more student vets. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. R.J. Rahi Jr.?
Yes, ma'am. I do go by RJ. I don't go by Richard. It drives me nuts, but that's beyond. Thank you, everybody, for letting us be here today. Like Destiny said, and Todd and Jen, and Jason, we're from the Veterans First Center with Las Positas. And a little bit of my backstory is I got out of the Marine Corps after 5 years of service last October. So I'm fairly new to the vet organization here, and getting out, like Jason said, living on the other side of Vasco, I tried going to Las Medanas, sat with the counselor, and was told, oh yeah, this is what we have available for you. So yeah, if you want to do this, let me know. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but I guess I'll try to figure it out. I'm a Marine. I'm used to trying to figure it out and fighting through my own way. So contacted an old friend of mine, Frankie, who you'll hear from later, and she's like, oh, why don't you come to Las Positas, try talking to the counselors there with Todd. It's a great program. Come see if you like it, and all that. Went to Las Positas, fell in love with the vet program there. The Veterans Resource Center there, it's a huge center, and it's hard getting out of the military, especially just getting out of the military and being an infantry Marine. You feel like nobody really understands you. You feel like, okay, especially growing up in Florida and Texas, this whole California thing is new to me. I'm still trying to figure out the tight jeans and Priuses. But all the Marines in the vet center, having those combat veterans and having that support there where I can go there and I can talk to these guys and just talk about, hey, this is some of our experience where I need to get away from that real world a little bit and kind of go back to talk to my buddies. That center is there for us. And just with all the counselors that are there and everybody who welcomed me when I first came to the vet center, and like Jason said, I now work there for the work study. That's what I want to do. I want to give back to people who are coming through so that I can help them, so that they can get their academics started, so that I can say, hey, listen, I just got out 6 months ago or 7 months ago, and this is what I'm doing now. I'm in my second semester. I'm working here part-time doing the work study, trying to help other people so that they can kind of have a similar experience. And I think that's what the big issue is trying to have more veterans resource centers like the ones that have already been discussed today, so that Marines and other service members have those necessary means so that they can go and feel welcomed, especially getting out and having that place where not only that they can feel like they're at home, but they can have people that are loving on them and helping on them so that they can fully get all of their resources. So that's all I have. So thank you.
Thank you. And that's the end of the public comment for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Interim Chancellor.
And before we move on here, I just wanted to recognize Bobby McDonald, who just joined us. He's a former Board of Governors member, and he was a very vocal and active proponent for veterans issues while he was with the board. So welcome, Bobby.
It's great to have you here. Okay. Vice Chancellor Walker, any further comments before we go to the board members? Great. Members of the board? Oh, please come forward, Mr. McDonald. Please, by all means.
Welcome back. Good afternoon. Thank you very kindly for Interim Chancellor Skinner, although I heard there might be a change sometime today. Yeah. Okay.
You missed it.
I missed it. Well, that's what happens when you're playing. But anyway, good seeing you and the rest of you board members. I just wanted to call and say thank you very kindly for all you have done for veterans in the last couple of years. It's been wonderful having that Veterans Summit go on for now 6 years, and your support with that. We've tried to keep some of the other board members or past board members that were involved with veterans to be involved, and we've watched it grow, and it's grown really, really well. I did want you to know that even though I'm no longer here, we've done a lot of good things, I believe, down in Orange County and in Los Angeles County with veterans, using the community colleges and also using the district offices to have our veterans meetings, so more people in the community will see what we're doing for veterans and how we're doing it and how we're helping housing, employment, health, education, and legal opportunities. So again, I just wanted to come and say thank you very kindly. Actually, I wanted to come join the party with Saddleback, okay, and Todd. But thank you very kindly for letting me take a few minutes to say something to you. And again, thank you for all you do for veterans. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Let's go to board comments. Board Member Sumner.
Knew I was going to speak on this one. When I first got appointed to the board, one of the things I said was I thought every college should have VRC, and I still think we need to definitely have that. But having only 24, well, actually it's gone up one since I guess I've been on, but that's not enough. We need to have, the VRCs functionally and working, because there's nothing worse when you give somebody the wrong direction and how to go about their career, especially when it comes down to funding and money. When veterans get those things and they have nobody to go and talk to, because veterans, we like guidance, we like direction, and we'll follow orders. And even unfortunately, sometimes people will give bad directions, and then you have bad outcomes, and then the veteran loses their scholarship, they lose their VA loan and everything. It's really critical. But not only the veterans' families, their wives, and their children. And that's huge, that they need to have the means to and the tools that are out there. Was really impressed with everybody, and it was like one of my favorite days probably to be here, to be honored. And Pam, we talk about this, and I try to be a silent but voice for the veterans. I guess I haven't heard that. I know, quiet. Okay, I'm not very silent. Okay. Anyway, we need more money. This is ridiculous that we don't have money for our vet centers, and I've brought this up since I've been on this, and I know we've talked about not categorical money and funding, but the fact that next year going forward, we missed out on it this year, there needs to be money for the veterans. There has to be money for the veterans, because 40% go to, what is it again? What was that word we heard, that where the money goes to those colleges out there? I'm sorry, what was that? Yeah. Okay, veterans bring money to the colleges. Veterans are not broken. Veterans bring money and new, I don't know, the veterans is what we need. It brings us safety. When I have veterans in colleges, I think of somebody that's safe, that's got my back. In a disaster, I don't have to worry about them. So I just think moving forward, we need more money. They're not broken. We're a very strong group, but we have to get the community involved. If you don't have the community involved, when you look at some of these colleges, I know that that's how they get the extra funding, but these other colleges need assistance and guidance. And I remember at the summit how everybody was reaching out to help everybody. But I just respect those people that do the credentialing and do the codes and everything. I was going, oh my God, how do they do this? Dealing with the veteran, from what I've heard from the colleges, it's harder than dealing with a regular student. It requires more time, more money, and more understanding. But you know what? Veterans are just like students too. They just need a little extra help, and they have served their country. So I think they deserve that.
Thank you. Board Member Belansky.
I want to request two things that are in this report and then ask a question. On page 124, it talks about a joint letter being sent to Cal State University requesting ongoing training for school certifying officials be conducted by the Federal Department of Veteran Affairs. The goal is to begin the training in early 2017. As that moves forward, I personally, and I suspect most people on the board, would like more information about that, just to be up to date and informed. And the other piece on page 127 is about the survey that was conducted that resulted in over 120 unduplicated courses. The colleges reported having credit awarded to students with prior military experience. A report highlighting a summary of the survey findings will be released, if we could get that report. And the question becomes, which is what everybody's raising, I mean, if we do have dedicated funding for DSPNS, EOPS, CARE, CalWORKS, now foster youth, is there any particular reason we couldn't put on some kind of a movement to get dedicated funding for veteran services? Because there is a real clear thing that was said here by a lot of these individuals, and it was that it sounded to me like the counselor I was working with knew how to provide those counseling services. It wasn't just a general counselor who had no background, no experience, no training, but in all likelihood at Las Positas, which is where the majority of these individuals came from, there's counselors there that have had some training. And that would become, like a condition of the funding, even how you select people who are going to work in the program. So I would hope there's something that's what we could do as a Board of Governors or whatever, but to seek out some kind of dedicated funding. Thank you.
Chancellor Skinner.
If I could just respond to that, this last year in the budget process, as the Veterans Center funding was in play, we were supportive of it, and it made it deep into the process. I would just note that later on today's agenda is a conversation about the 2017-18 budget request. That's the Board of Governors request that goes forward to the governor and the Department of Finance to shape the upcoming budget proposal. It'd be an opportune time, if the board saw fit, to kind of make its mark on that package. Vice Chancellor Rodriguez will walk you through the process, but essentially at this point, that 2017-18 budget plan is a draft. He's working with a group of stakeholders in crafting it. It's coming here for information purposes, for your input, and then it'll come back to you for final approval in September. So in that item a little later this afternoon, it might be an opportunity for you to put that request on the table or give that direction to staff.
I have Board Member Malumed, Board Member Haynes, and then Board Member Khan.
About federal funding too. When we're back there, at least this last February, and I think the one before, we talked to all the congressional members about this need for funding for these centers and services, and it crosses party lines. And I mention it because it's an election year. So in our state, all our House of Representative members are out there campaigning. So if we see them, be sure and mention that this is a priority, and our U.S. Senator race is going on. So keep that in mind. It's not all the state. The federal government can help. They haven't, but they can.
Right. Board Member Haynes.
Thank you. First, I want to just thank the veterans in the room for your service. I'm going to speak to the work on community colleges, and the college not mentioned was American River College, which Pam was very instrumental, but every one of our campuses has a vet center. We carved it, and I think some of the background, we carved it out of really nothing, really saying to each of the campuses, this is too critical of an issue. If you have to, we don't care if you knock out a closet, but there's got to be some place that we start. And we started those pieces without funding. And then the next piece was, one, to try to make it as welcoming as possible and to try to get counseling and services of existing staff. And then the next step was to make certain that those staff really were educated around what the needs were, and the best people to ask those questions were the vets themselves. And we invited representatives from our campuses to really come and speak to us. And I'm going to get a little emotional here, sorry. Their stories are so compelling. Their willingness to wrap their arms around each other, to really help each other through the process was an important element. And as I listen to this, there's a couple of things that come to mind. Not all vet centers are created equal, and not all staff are created equal, and that's the piece we really do have to work on. And that's all of our staff, because it doesn't really matter where that person comes, whether it's a student of color or a vet or someone with a disability. Whoever touches them first really have to be welcoming, or else it may turn off that potential gem to go someplace else or not to show up at all. And so while I am absolutely supportive of more money, and I'm absolutely supportive of more staff that are key, I think the most important thing I'm supportive of is wherever that potential student touches the door of a community college, they should feel welcomed.
Board Member Khan, followed by Board Member Burdick.
So there's a value to veterans which I think we overlook often. They have this, and I'm just going to speak from the perspective of some of the student veterans who I've met. They are able to not only come back to their community and say, I'm going to pursue an education to help, live a civilian life and provide for my family, but there's this other side where I've met plenty of student veterans who became advocates for community colleges. And that goes, when you think like you've already served your country, you've done so much already, for you to then come back, represent your students, and on top of that, think that even people in this room who are veterans, they have children at home that they have to provide for, they have families that they have to take care of. The least we can do is offer them a ubiquitous, great experience throughout our state to make sure that they're getting services they need. So just to highlight, there are veteran student leaders out there who put aside what they have to deal with their family on a daily basis, making ends meet, pursuing an education after struggling with civilian integration, to then say that they'll represent their students is just a huge undertaking, which I don't know how they do it. So I'm fully behind these initiatives and offer my support.
Board Member Burdick.
Thank you for that presentation. I'm a classroom teacher, and the value that these veteran centers can give to the veterans is terrific. It's a moral obligation we have to make sure that they're successful. But I'd like to turn that around a little bit and look at them as resources also for our other students. We've heard able, strong, and resilient group. That really is true, and it shows up in the classroom, and it shows up particularly to the 18 to 21-year-olds that I teach on a daily basis. If you have a veteran in the classroom, there is a different quality. They are aware of a different world, and that the young people start to learn that there's something bigger out there. There is a dedication to service that they may never have thought about. There is an integrity. There is a work ethic. All these things come into the classroom, and the other students rise to that occasion. So they are not only, it's not only that we need to help the veterans, they're already helping us. And if we can help them, they will be better role models for the students that we have in our classroom. Thank you.
Okay, let me do Board Member Avalos and then Board Member Sumner.
A couple questions. First question, you mentioned the Veterans Conference, our summit. Is there a job fair, career fair in that summit at all? Do you know? Okay.
There hasn't been specifically, but it sounds like there might be.
Because the question is, and it dawned on me this weekend or this week when I was in Washington, D.C. at a conference, I heard from a speaker who recruits, who's a veteran herself, and recruits veterans for AT&T. And this industry, you know, the corporate industry has specific hiring practices around veterans. And I don't know where we are with that in terms of what we're doing from a statewide veterans community college perspective, but I'm assuming some of our veterans are taking career technical education, that they are going to be graduating soon and looking for jobs. And she mentioned AT&T will take folks who, at all levels, at community college, 4-year BAs and BSs. So to me, it's like we should be thinking about that as well. Additionally to that, if we do have that career center, you know, you could bring in corporate sponsors, right, to fund this and have additional money to do other things with veterans statewide. Keith is not here, but that might be an opportunity to involve the foundation as well. So that's something that's there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear the stories at the college campuses from what the veterans have prevented from happening on their campuses. And I really think that there's an untold story of how veterans on college campuses has saved lives, stopped sexual assault. Your veterans are probably the most trained. Unfortunately, it's part of the training we get in the military. So we're I guess we could say we're brainwashed, but we have received so much training and awareness, and especially with the community, when you look at a lot of things that were legislatively and everything, your veterans are already trained in those things. They're already aware in those things. I've heard stories of veterans taking knives from people at school, protecting people. So I think if we get more of that stories out to share that this college campus, these veterans did this, because unfortunately in the news right now we're hearing negative things. The veterans, and not only that, but the students that they're with, the stories that they share. I think it would just be sort of a neat little book, The Untold Story of Veterans Resource Centers, because I can think of some I've heard from PCC, GCC, and even Saddleblack, and then Irvine. I've heard a couple of them. But if people were to hear more of their stories, I think we might be getting more funding, because people are like, wow, had no clue. Because we are sort of the untold, but we want to sort of have that privacy sometimes. But that does make a huge difference.
Well, thank you all for the presentation. I want to thank the members of our community, the veterans, the students, the administrators who've come to share their stories. Narrative is a powerful tool. I will tell you, I do get a little tired of the political season when people always talk about, oh, thank you to our veterans, thank you for your service, but then we don't see actual results in programs. I think that our community college system is doing a good job trying to move forward the ball by promoting the Veterans Resource Centers, but we've heard you loud and clear on the need for money to back that up, as well as specialized training and support. I'm very heartened by the growth of the Veterans Summit. I'm heartened by some of the best practices trainings that have been proliferating. I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes in the fall when you have another training. But as we move into the next agenda item regarding our state and federal advocacy piece here at the community colleges, our agenda, we should take to heart many of the very specific suggestions we heard here today around funding, programming, and setting a standard. I'm not going to say a low bar, but setting a standard for the delivery of services so that every veteran that walks through the door of a community college or touches us, rather, not even walk through the door, as Board Member Haynes says, feels welcome. So thank you very much. We're going to take a break. We'll reconvene at 2:31. Thank you.